I remember in 2010 when the second class of SEO-Vietnam asked me how we would measure our success. There are of course all the easy, readily observable metrics like the number of applicants we had, the number of interns, or now fellows, and the number of employer partners who participated, and perhaps even the amount of funds that we raised. But each of those would skew us inevitably towards quantity instead of quality. And from the beginning, our mission has been to nurture a network of leaders who are going to make a difference in Vietnam, not necessarily just crank through high numbers of folks just for the sake of it. How well do we accomplish this, and how do we measure that? That question back in 2010 forced me to think about what really mattered. Long-term scalable impact, where our contributions are hopefully amplified by the collective effort of paying it forward to a broader set of participants. And I actually remember my answer to the interns back then. And I said, only in over 10 years are we really gonna know whether we've been successful, and depending really on what each of you do in your subsequent lives, in your subsequent careers, whether it's with SEO or in your own communities. But I know that even as I said those words, I had no clue how to actually measure that. And over the years, I've ecstatically witnessed alumni giving back more and more and more quickly than I had ever imagined. From our humble beginnings, we have grown by leaps and bounds as an organization. And now we span multiple cities, multiple seasons in the year, and multiple programs. And by the end of this cycle, will have graduated over nearly 370 fellows across all of our programs. And we've achieved all of this through the hearts and the dedication of the brains and efforts of our friends and alumni who have volunteered with us throughout the way, not on the back of huge budgets. At the same time, with the widening complexity of all of our programming, it's led us to question whether or not we're staying true to our vision and mission. Our executive team has thoughtfully collected feedback on this issue and noticed that the confusion is clearly becoming a problem. And so the board of directors set out over the past several months to try and address this, studying where we're at and whether or not we need to adapt the mission to our current programs. And in the end, we basically found out that to clarify what we're doing, we should have a framework to assess our performance. It has one single number that we can use to measure ourselves. So we came up with the SEO-Vietnam impact matrix. And allow me to elaborate. So you guys will be conducting a survey that helps us measure this, but essentially there are three spheres that we care about with your development, with our community's development. First is the professional, and that's what you guys have seen the most of within all of our programming. The second is around community, and this means how are you helping to be involved as a social member of the groups that you're around, whether it's your neighborhood, your school alumni network, or even SEO. The third is specifically around social justice, which is, are you helping to expand opportunities to those who are not as fortunate to have those? And those are the three spheres that we measure you in, or you measure yourselves in. And within each of those, there are three possible levels. The first is participating, just by showing up, basically. So at your job, that means being employed. Within your community, it means just being involved in networking within their circles and being a participant. And then in social justice, it might mean volunteering or being involved in an organization's efforts along those causes. Each one of those earns 1 point, so for a total of 3 points if you're at that level across all three. The second layer is coaching and managing, something much, much harder than just showing up, right? So for us, on the professional side, that means you're not necessarily need to have a title, but maybe you do have a middle manager title of some sort where you're coaching and managing others. And in the others, maybe you're helping to organize something in your community now, or helping to organize an event or program run by a different organization to bring social justice. Lastly, we thought that, and the coaching and managing we thought is because it's significantly harder, it should be valued much more. So it's 5 points there versus every 1 point. Lastly is problem solving and leading. And this one is so much harder than to just show up and participate. And it's even much, much harder than coaching and managing. And for professional leading, this is quantified as, are you identifying a new business problem? Are you able to recruit others within the organization to work on that and then start working to solve that problem? In the community, are you identifying an issue within the community that needs addressing? And then are you recruiting others and fixing that problem? Or something similar within the social justice side. But because that problem solving and leadership involves a number of different complex skills, and it's much harder to achieve. But at the same time, it's so much more valuable. So we're earmarking that next level is worth 20 points. So in total, as an alumni or any member of our community, you can get somewhere 3 marks or 1 mark in each of those spheres for a maximum of 20 points in each, or 60 points total. And every year, our SEO-Vietnam alumni in our career or momentum programs are going to be surveyed to provide candid self-assessments on where they are, where you are in developing in each of these areas. It's a simple measurement in each sphere. And we believe that although every level is valuable, it is a huge bar that is more valuable to the extent we can help each of you get as far down that matrix as possible to really create impactful, scalable change. We're going to measure our success as an organization by the total impact matrix scores from the entire base of all participants every year. And the goal is to increase that total as much as possible and as quickly as possible. So as a result, as we're heavily incentivized to try to add depth of impact into our operations, not just breadth. Instead of adding 20 interns to our class, it is just as valuable to add, instead of adding 20 interns, we can help one intern go from a participant all the way to leading, and would have the same impact. And so we want to allocate our resources and organize our activities appropriately. The biggest insight coming away from all of this is that to accomplish our mission, we actually have to shift our focus to an ever-growing base of alumni, which, as we said, is about 370 now. Being a participant in our programs is just the first step to participating, but we want to dedicate more resources and creativity to better serve our alumni. And it's going to require a change in our organizational structure, organizational programming, and the executive team, the board, have all been diligently working to roll out all of these changes. And we're going to need more help. So hopefully we'll ask each of you to just fill this out once a year and also provide some suggestions on how we can do better. And we're going to use that to start to measure ourselves. Thank you for everything you have given SEO Vietnam thus far, and thank you in advance for your continued support.